We're gonna do take 2. Hey, welcome to Resonance. Today we're gonna talk about your identity as an artist and starting with your why. This brings about your sovereignty. It commands your space with yourself. It is a place where you can trust yourself. Let's talk about 3 things today. Let's talk about your voice, your sovereignty, and your why. So if we bring it back to center, bring it back to home, your voice is your true, authentic frequency. It's your unique sonic signature. It's your DNA speaking through tones. And when we lean into who we are, we want to use our speaking voice as much as possible when we're singing because the authenticity comes through even more, right? So I have been a vocal coach for nearly 15 years, which is crazy. And in the last decade plus, I've realized when Adele came to the scene and I was coaching high school, middle school, and everybody was coming at me with that one particular song. I heard that you're settled down, that you're, right? Where are those vowel shapes coming from? Because they are not native to the North American region, which is where we were doing vocal coaching. So just that alone, it's being that specific with your authenticity that you don't overshape your vowels to sound like Adele. You want to speak and you want to sing as close to your speaking voice as possible, your unique signature. Voice is your blueprint. It's your DNA, it's your resonance, it's your vibration, it's your, to be simple, it's your sound. And there is not a voice out there, if we want to speak in commercial terms, right, that is mimicking, that is successful as an artist. They might be a successful entertainer. They might have ridden on the wings of some of their contemporaries. However, the true artists have a very unique sound because they embrace their authenticity. So I highly encourage this. Let me put this out there since we're just starting here together and I'm kind of reintroducing myself to this new community here on YouTube. I want to say that I put all of this out there with the disclaimer that take what you want from these sessions and leave the rest. If it doesn't resonate with you, I'm not offended. If it doesn't land, great. If it's something you want to challenge me on it. I'm open. All I know is that I don't know in life and I'm always learning. But I do know that I'm willing to share with you anything that I've learned along the way, anything that I've been teaching, I've learned from my students, anything that I've learned in the underground industry as an independent artist. If I've bumped my head, I'm going to show you my roadmap so you don't bump your head as well. I'm going to help you skip over those challenges and learn from fulfillment instead of pain. So your voice, okay? Your why. Why do you want to be an artist? Why do you want to sing? Why do you want to improve your voice? Why do you want to be paid to play? Why do you want to start a band? Why are you writing the lyrics you're writing? Why are your songs falling into a certain sound? If you don't know your fundamental why, your foundation, you're going to be inevitably insecure. So the more that you lean into your self-discovery process, be it exploration, taking purposeful risks, whether you're spending time in your journal or your notebook, writing every day, dumping out your subconscious, these are the places where you're going to find natural alignment without feeling like you're in this fake affirmation exercise, and you're also going to be able to learn how to channel authentic emotions. So it's really important to stay in the space of asking purposeful questions because you'll get better quality answers if you ask yourself why. So I highly encourage you to ask yourself that why as much as possible, and it will evolve, right? When we're first starting out in music or art or expression or just as a young person, we're inevitably going to evolve in this spiral. It's not a linear process. It might look like it. We might age. The years ago might look like a line, but when we think about it, this evolution that we're experiencing as humans, as as spiritual beings on this spiral, and every time we learn a lesson, we're coming to a new place, a new octave, just like music. So when you're asking yourself the why and you look back 10 years ago, you might actually find threads of your why now in the past, but now you're doing it at a new octave. So keep asking yourself why. And then you can kind of lean into your mission and your artist statement and things like this. It isn't to be overly detailed with yourself, but it's to be aware enough to see your blind spots and explore those, because sometimes the shadow can reveal some of the most beautiful light in your experience, in your music, in your writing, in your collaboration. So I highly encourage your why. And the other place that I wanted to speak on today is your sovereignty as an artist. The importance of sovereignty is that at any given time, you are not owned by anybody, by any ideology, or by any person, place, or thing. You want to be in touch with your why as your foundation, so you cannot be owned. You can have exchange, and I find that to be extremely valuable, right? You want to understand your worth. You want to proclaim who you are. And you want to have a sense of confidence and a sense of value in the market. But the thing is when you're owned by somebody, or owned by a place, or owned by a person, place, or thing, an entity, you become an entity that's owned. And when you don't claim who you are, you're claimed. So it's important to step back, have your authentic voice, number one. Number two, ask yourself, what is my why? What is my purpose in this? And then number three, understand the rules of sovereignty. Sovereignty doesn't mean you're a freedom fighter, necessarily. Sovereignty doesn't mean you have to be a rebel or someone who fights against a system. But sovereignty recognizes that nobody owns me. And so when I walk into an agreement on a tour or a venue, or if I'm hired by a band to do a project, if I'm negotiating a contract, if I'm playing a private event, if I'm signing the rights to my masters over forever, then that means my music is owned. I'm owned. My masters are owned by somebody. So I want you to really take a moment and just be aware of all of these dimensions. And I find these to be all quite unified in 3 different areas, which I've found over the years. I've been coaching for nearly 15 years now. I've been coaching one-on-one, band coaching, in classrooms, in colleges, guest lectures, music panels. I've hosted state music summits. I've produced literally over 1,000 or more events, co-produced. I started a nonprofit ecosystem. I have some experience under my belt to realize that voice in music isn't a commodity. Voice is our connection to our roots. And as I mentioned, we can have a value exchange, but we need to remember that our voice is creative empowerment. Our voice carries our DNA. It's our remembering. And if we come from this position of trusting ourselves and listening to our intuition as the guidepost for how we practice, how we learn, how we seek, and what we're attuned to in our experience, it's going to be a greater fulfilling experience than it would be if we were performing for the approval of somebody else. So I highly encourage you to lean into your self-discovery process. If you want to check out what I have going on, I've just launched Vokes Session 1 and 2, and they're 6-week intensives where we're going to deep dive on all of these subjects. And the first session starts August 11th, and it is called Vocal Foundations. We're going to speak on all of these topics, and we're going to deep dive into your vocal technique and something I call the vocal canvas. So I hope you check that out. And session 2, we're going to be talking about the empowered vocalist, how to have an idea of where you're headed on a roadmap, collaboration, strategy, and then diving deeper into practicing like a pro. And that means practicing your life like a pro, outlining what you want, proclaiming your vision, having unapologetic authenticity. So those are some options. Also giving away a $1,000 scholarship If you apply now, there's a link in the video description, and I'm gonna tell you all about that scholarship when we hop on a call. And I'm offering a limited number of free breakthrough sessions, so we can see if it might be a good fit for you to take my artist development intensive called Own Your Vocal Power. And then I have some really fun things coming up that I'm not quite ready to share, but I do appreciate your time and your energy, and I invite you to trust yourself, take care of your heart, and I will see you soon.